to Real Life. I'm Sarah Bernard, and this show is all about buying, selling, and owning real estate, one of my favorite topics. I'm a realtor myself and also a TV host, and I love the idea of home and what that means to all of us. But behind the emotional part of that word is a business, and most of us will be involved in it one way or another. I created this show so we could help you learn the ins and outs of buying and selling homes, financing them, staging them, and other great topics around the subject of real estate. Stay tuned for our latest episode of Real Life with Sarah Bernard.
Hi, I'm Derek from Housemaster serving the St. Louis area. A thorough Housemaster inspection will provide you with a clear understanding of the condition of the major systems and accessible areas in your home. As part of the inspection, we will also help you plan for future home improvement needs and take the time to show you how to operate many of the systems inside of the home. More than 3 million people just like you have had the peace of mind knowing that Housemaster performed their inspection. We look forward to serving you.
Andrea Lenzen joins me today to muse about our favorite topic, everything real estate. And a great home to buy or sell starts with getting it ready. Andrea, let's talk about home repairs, upgrades, storage, all that kinds of stuff that people love to hear. But let's start with storage. So a lot of times people say they're doing all the things that they need to do to get the home ready, and they put it all in the garage or all in the basement. So, okay, well, obviously you have an opinion on that.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay.
I tell them, no, don't do that. Number one, the reason is they start stuffing everything in the garage. People need to see they can fit their cars into the garage. And in the basement, one of the things I tell them, you don't want to put it up against the wall because there's inspections that need to get done, but I don't want it piled in the middle of the floor because people need to walk around and see the space that's available downstairs. So it's really better if they just get a storage locker or a pod or sell some of the things off. I mean, a few boxes are fine, but just don't start putting lots of furniture and mattresses and things like that
So
out
even
there.
in an unfinished space, you want to keep that as open as possible?
Less is more.
Yeah, and what if someone has a completely unfinished lower level? They have nothing, no walls, it's just open storage, the whole thing. Is it okay to have stuff down there?
If it's a big enough and they can keep it very organized and it looks good, then it's perfect. They have some built-in shelves, stick them on the built-in shelves. That will definitely look so much better.
Okay, so organized, neat. We don't want it to look like there could be critters.
Definitely. No
With, like clean boxes.
Yes, I know. A lot of times people, the stairs that are going down to the basement, sometimes we recommend painting because those get so much wear and tear.
Oh,
and that looks so much
okay.
nicer too. And then sometimes people even paint the basement floors, because it looks so much nicer. Same thing with garage floors. I know men love an updated garage floor.
Okay.
I mean,
so that's a good thing to do before you sell.
Again, it's your price point, what you want to be. But as much as you can clean and look organized, the better off you are.
What about drywalling garages? Is that something that you feel is important?
It's not a biggie for me.
Okay.
I mean, it really isn't. Recently, we just did a house, and he's going to drywall the whole basement. It's not finished, but I thought it's a good idea because he has a lot of features downstairs, like a wine cellar and a workout room. And this way, the buyer can say, oh, you know what? It's going to be easy to finish this off. So he is drywalling.
So there's just a part of that basement that was not drywalled.
Correct.
So what about if somebody had a completely unfinished basement and they said, should we just drywall the exterior walls?
No, I wouldn't bother with it.
I think that's also, it's a red flag, what's behind that drywall.
It's a good point,
Are there
too.
cracks, that kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah.
And, also sometimes there's leakage. Make sure those things are fixed, because when we talk about repairs too, one of the things that, the seller wants to do is make sure everything is in good working order, because what you don't want is that time of the building inspection gets done, then the buyer wants to renegotiate the price because they perceive things are going to cost so much more than what it really does to get it fixed.
So you recommend to home sellers to get the repairs done that
Abs-
they are aware need to be fixed.
Absolutely. Even have a pre-inspection done, just so be on the safe side. You don't want any objections at all whatsoever in the house.
And you don't want surprises,
Oh,
right? 'Cause
absolutely
that's
not.
a difficult part of the process when you go, you've got a buyer, you've got an accepted, agreed upon price, and then all of a sudden you get the list of repairs, right?
And I think that's happened to you, where you know
Yeah.
you need a new hot water heater or whatever.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know? I
yeah.
mean, so things like that can happen.
Yeah, so
You
we want to
wanna
be
make sure it's
careful
all
about
done.
that. Okay, so all right, so keep the garage clean and neat. Don't put all your extra stuff there. You want to be able to show that you can park cars in that garage.
Absolutely.
And then same with the basement. So if it's unfinished, you want to be able to show that it's finishable.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So these are some really great tips. Anything else on the storage?
You know, again, talking about the closets, you know, pantries,
Mm.
linen closets, just make sure they're decluttered. I know sometimes it's hard to keep the kids' bedrooms, closets organized, but again, it's the perception. If it's only 50% filled, then people are going to say,
Yeah.
wow, there's a lot of storage
Yeah, and
here.
I've heard you tell sellers before to get rid of the extra hangers.
Oh
They
my
ta-
gosh, yeah,
they
extra
take up
hangers?
a lot
I
of
know.
room. We don't realize
You
it,
don't
right?
realize how
so
much.
that's a good tip.
And I'd love a tip. I mean, they don't have to go do this, but if they had the same kind of hangers throughout, it looks so much nicer.
Yeah.
I mean, it really
All right.
does.
There you go. So the same kind of hangers. Good tips with you today,
Yes.
Andrea. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we're getting some tips from Andrea about your home and what you can do now, whether or not you plan to sell it anytime soon. For another perspective on this subject, our next guest knows the nitty-gritty stuff about your current house or your next one. Stay tuned.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
Hi, I'm Derek from Housemaster serving the St. Louis area. A thorough Housemaster inspection will provide you with a clear understanding of the condition of the major systems and accessible areas in your home. As part of the inspection, we will also help you plan for future home improvement needs and take the time to show you how to operate many of the systems inside of the home. More than 3 million people just like you have had the peace of mind knowing that Housemaster performed their inspection. We look forward to serving you.
Our next guest may not be the most popular, but he's definitely very needed. Whether you're selling your house or buying one, the inspector's opinion carries a lot of weight in the overall process. Chad Bora runs a home inspection business, and he's here today to help us understand more about what really goes on behind the scenes in the inspection world. So welcome, Chad. I'm so glad you could join us. I mean, I know you are popular. Actually, you're very likable. Everybody I know loves you. But truly, the inspector, it's kind of a dreaded word, dreaded person to both the seller and the buyer, right?
Yeah, I would say it's easily the least favorable part of the transaction.
It's hard.
It is. There's a lot of emotion on both sides and a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's the price, agreeing to a price, but that's usually the easier part.
Right.
Because in the inspection process, for the buyer, you're coming up with a list of things it's everything that's wrong with the house, right?
Yep.
And so they get nervous, and the seller's like, well, this house is perfect for me. That's not wrong, right? You
Yep.
get that.
Yep. The seller, I think, there's a number of things playing in. They're worried about what we're going to find out. They're worried just having us in their home.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
It's invasive. The buyer, oftentimes one buyer can be interested in finding everything we can about the house.
Right.
And the other buyer is scared to death that we're going to find anything about the house.
Yeah.
Right? And not...
Because they love the house
They love the house so much
They're
that-
already emotionally connecting, and they don't want to know that there's a problem.
that we represent a threat no matter what. Yeah.
Kind of like dating, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. We don't want to know the bad stuff because you look so good, right?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, I think the inspection, we call it the moment of truth, and that may seem extreme, but that's what it is. There's so much emotion wrapped up in it, right?
Yeah.
That you have a vested interest, and you have to pay someone to be objective there and give you the information you have to be confident moving forward.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of people blame the inspector for ruining the deal, right?
Yep.
So does that happen, and how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it does to a certain extent. There are some inspectors, I mean, we're put in a tough position, so it's natural for the inspector sometimes to start covering themselves, right? Becoming very defensive and wanting to find everything. They can find value in painting things in a very negative light. And so when a buyer hears that, but the majority of the time, I would say that it's just a matter of, you know, it's an opportunity to get out. And so it's not specific to the information provided in the inspection.
Yeah.
As much as it's just a doorway or avenue out for the buyer once they have the info.
Yeah, because what a lot of people don't realize is that that's typically, on most real estate contracts in most states, that's an opportunity where the buyer can change their mind. And it's usually the only opportunity
Right.
in a contract. So they are still maybe on the fence, and that's part of the problem, is it becomes a very important week of time when things could go a different direction for
Yep.
both the buyer and the seller. Yeah. So what about a seller bringing in a home inspector before they put their home on the market? That's become more popular. Is that something that you recommend?
Highly, and I'm excited that it's becoming more popular. I mean, you mentioned it early on, but as soon as you have a contract, the weight shifts to the buyer
Yeah.
in the negotiation. And so I think if the seller has that information in advance, it maintains a stronger position in that negotiation.
Yeah.
Additionally, the seller doing that inspection in advance can relieve some of the tension and uncertainty, right? That fear that they have about what's coming up in
Yeah.
the inspection, what are they going to find, and they can feel comfortable knowing I've had somebody look at this just like an inspector will for a buyer.
Yeah, so they're more in control and they can get those repairs done.
Much cheaper, they can get the repairs done and they can be prepared for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of sellers are worried about having that inspection because either they don't want repairs, they don't want to spend money at that point because they may not have to, let's say, or they're going to have to let people know now what's wrong with the house, right?
That is the most common, I think, is well, now I'm going to be forced to disclose.
Yeah.
And if you look at the seller's disclosure in most markets, the things that we are going to find in the inspection are not things that are going to influence that disclosure. And to be honest, if they're large enough that they will influence the disclosure, you're going to want to know them in advance.
Yeah.
Before you realize them in the transaction.
That's a really good idea. So in addition to hiring your inspector before you go on the market, get a copy of that seller's disclosure so you know exactly what you have to say about your house.
Right, because I think it's really a good move to keep that information to yourself. Like, I don't recommend doing a lot of repairs based on our pre-listing or pre-sale
Okay.
inspection because I think it's important to leave some low-hanging fruit for the next inspector.
Oh, that's
There's
interesting.
just an element of, as an inspector, you find value in finding deficiencies in things, and that's one of the things that makes people hate us.
Okay.
So if the deficiencies are still there, they're not going to look as hard to find that next thing.
That's interesting. So leave a few things because if the inspector for the buyer is not finding anything, they're going to dig even deeper.
They're going to dig even deeper, and you're prepared to negotiate. You're prepared to see what they come back with. And another element that oftentimes if you disclose the pre-listing inspection or share it,
Yeah.
then it becomes like two inspectors having a competition on who can inspect the home better.
So you don't agree with releasing that information before going to market?
I think there's lots of ways you can go to market, but that's the way I would normally do it, from an inspector's perspective, is keep that information
Okay.
as a seller close to my chest.
Okay.
And then when they start playing their cards in the negotiation, you have a much stronger position to say, I respect your position, but we've had a professional do this as well, and we've got estimates in advance. Your
Yeah.
request for $10,000 is silly. We're going to get it done for $2,500.
Right, because we've already done that homework, right?
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yep.
Okay, so how do you find a home inspector? We have about 30 seconds left. What's the best way to find?
I think the best way is through the real estate community and through your realtor. You're trusting the realtor to guide you through this transaction, and it's important to leverage their experience with inspectors in that community to know
Okay.
who does the best
So
job.
tap into that real estate network.
Yep,
All right,
for sure.
perfect. All right, Chad, thank you so much for joining us today. You're always a font of information, and you'll be more liked because of it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Chad Bora knows his stuff, and I'm glad that you had a chance to meet him today. Don't go away because I've got a brother and a sister that you'll want to know who are going to talk to us about buying a family vacation home. Stay with us.
fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
Hi, I'm Derek from Hostmaster serving the St. Louis area. A thorough Hostmaster inspection will provide you with a clear understanding of the condition of the major systems and accessible areas in your home. As part of the inspection, we will also help you plan for future home improvement needs and take the time to show you how to operate many of the systems inside of the home. More than 3 million people just like you have had the peace of mind knowing that Hostmaster performed their inspection. We look forward to serving you.
Buying a home in any market, busy or not, is fun for sure, but what happens when you do it with your family, your extended family? Let's chat with a couple of siblings who recently joined together to buy a family vacation home. Welcome, Penny and Chip Wagner. And Karen Kelly's joining us again. Karen is a realtor who has worked a lot with families on vacation homes. So this is a great conversation. So you guys are brother and sister, and there's other siblings in the mix here. There's two more, right?
Two more.
Two more, and mom and dad, and you guys decided to buy a vacation home. So how did you arrive at that decision?
You know, we talked about it for several years, and you know, really with the pandemic, we like to travel a lot as a family, and we all do get along, and we love each other a lot. So,
that's awesome.
you know, there was not a lot of travel going on, and so we started talking about, okay, could we make this a reality, and what does that look like? So that was kind of our goal, was let's start looking and see if we could do something that would, you know, benefit our entire family for generations. There's 7 grandkids.
Yeah, and the kids, I didn't even mention the kids.
So that was really important to us. We really wanted a place for our family to all be together and the cousins to all really bond and grow, and it was perfect timing with the pandemic. So we kind of, from there, put together this list of what we really wanted, what was needs versus wants, especially to be conducive to that kind of goal that we had. Picked the region, the area where we were looking, and then just really started narrowing down from there.
And who of the siblings took the lead?
You know, we met certainly to get those wants and needs. I ended up just, based on my schedule, being able to view more properties, but you know, we would really qualify them before based on, again, those wants and needs, because that's really important when you have you know, you have multiple people, you've got to respect, you know, others' opinions and things.
Makers, right?
It
And
is,
did you all
yes,
have
you're right.
equal weight in the decision?
We did. It was. You have to be really respectful to each other of what the needs and wants would be. Got a little emotional, emotionally tied to some of the options we were looking at, and then we'd have to sit down and go through that list again. Like, did we really want this? Or, gosh, we got down to one home that we really, really liked, but then we would need a lot of construction things to make it what we wanted, and then it was like, no, that's going to take too long, and that doesn't meet our goal of wanting to be together soon, you know, and do this soon. So,
and you know, that really talks about being patient, I think, in the process. Whether you know, the markets are always going up and down, and there might be more inventory or less inventory, but that was something that I was really keeping in mind, because the one that we really liked, it just wasn't right, and so I was a little discouraged per se. But just being patient, whether you're buying your normal home or a second home or anything, I think that's a mindset to have. That was important for us.
And you guys picked going back to a location decision, a drivable location, and we were in the pandemic, and that was an important part of the criteria. But for some people, they might pick a place across the country. That would be even more complicated, right?
We wanted something we could get to fairly quickly. It was a lakefront that we wanted to be on. There's a lot of options for that anywhere, but we chose one that was maybe a little less of the exciting place, but a little more of the comfortable and just a place we could go and enjoy, and let the kids run around outside and just be together.
Well, and I know that we talk to clients all the time about decluttering and depersonalizing to make the space generic for whoever may come in. I know you had some challenges along the way with not being able to get past some people's stuff. Talk about that.
That was really interesting, because it does start turning your mind when the home is staged a certain way or has certain
can't
contents
really
in
see
it.
the home,
right?
right? Yeah.
So we would go, when we first bought the home, we'd start taking things down because we bought it as is with all of the
bought it
furniture,
with furniture, with all
and
the
everything,
stuff,
you
with
know.
the clutter.
And so we'd like take things down and we'd be like, okay, how does this feel? You know, how does this feel? And we had, you know, not only a place for families to be together, but we want for me, I don't have children, and so we want this to be like the ultimate girls' weekend kind of a home too, you know. So does this work with kids and for fun girl weekend? You know, girls'
Versatile,
trips and
yeah.
things.
And
Really
that
make
brings
versatile.
up a good point. A lot of vacation homes are purchased with all the contents.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
uncommon.
So we did have to like put that aside. Say, no, that might not be our taste,
Yeah.
but it'll be okay. You know,
We're still taking things out.
And bringing
time
things
to
in
time.
and
Yeah,
moving
bring
things around.
things in.
So you have to get past the, well, I don't really love these contents, but I love the house, love the location.
You do.
But I
You
just
do.
got to deal with all the stuff too. So
Exactly.
you're taking the seller's role
Yes.
to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So now that you're there, you're settled in, what's like? Does it work well, everybody together?
You know, it really does. You know, we've got just some basic framework kind of ground rules, like, hey, let's keep it clean for the next people, right?
Okay.
But I'll tell you, we haven't even been out there in the summer yet, and we keep having all these fun times, you know, in the winter,
Yeah.
and people keep saying, and we keep saying to ourselves, we haven't even had a summer here yet,
Yeah.
you know, and it's going to be so fun. But you know, we're thrilled with just everything that really came with it, and it's really allowed our family to continue to be together. And hey, who's going to the lake house this weekend?
That's awesome.
Things like
That's
that,
so fun. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us, and thank you, Karen, for joining us as well. Making a big purchase like a home with family and friends can be daunting, but Chip and Penny definitely make it look easy. Don't go away, because we're going on location next to see real-life tips for transforming a home for the real estate market. I'm Sarah Bernard.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
Hi, I'm Derek from Housemaster, serving the St. Louis area. A thorough Housemaster inspection will provide you with a clear understanding of the condition of the major systems and accessible areas in your home. As part of the inspection, we will also help you plan for future home improvement needs and take the time to show you how to operate many of the systems inside of the home. More than 3 million people just like you have had the peace of mind knowing that Housemaster performed their inspection. We look forward to serving you.
Welcome back. I'm Sarah Bernard, and this is a typical bookcase that we find in every house, just about, and it's where people put their stuff. But when you go to sell your home, you're going to want to lighten it up, and it's actually a great idea too, because you want to start packing things away for the move. So Andrea Lenzen is going to join us. Come on in, Andrea, and show us in a few easy steps.
Yep,
Other than
absolutely.
moving the books.
Yeah.
How we can restyle a bookcase. A lot of people are intimidated. They don't know what to do, right,
Exactly.
with this type of furniture.
Right.
So what would you do to start?
Well, first of all, let's pack up the paperback books.
Okay.
Because they really don't display as nicely. Also, anything like a spiral or something that's personal, or these boxes down here, let's go ahead and pre-pack all of those up anyway.
Okay, so basically you're saying just leave some of the
Hardbacks.
hardback books, anything like personal files
Right.
and paperbacks, get rid of them.
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll start with that.
Definitely, and then we can add a few little accessories just to kind of, decorate it a little bit better.
Okay, that sounds
Okay.
great. And what about the things on top?
Oh, we definitely want to get everything off the top. Again, this will be depersonalizing it, so they're going to pre-pack it up. It'll be fine.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
like a plan.
great.
Well, let's go to work and
All
get
right,
this
let's
done.
get going.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to take a look and see exactly what I want to keep. I want to keep hardback books. These are great hardback books. And then also what you want to pull too is if you have any kind of books that are political, you don't want to have those around. So I'm pulling as many of hardback books that I can find, and then we're just going to pack up all the other ones. So we're going to try to pull some more. And also when we put them back, we want to try to keep them somewhat the same size. And if you have dark bookcases, you want to go with light colored books and light color accessories. If you have like white bookcases, then you want to go with the darker books and the darker accessories. So it'll show up. You always got to remember about your background. I think that's good for this shelf. Okay, so we want to get rid of all these personal things that probably have, oops, excuse me, like family photos. But anyway, this is all personal. You don't want anybody going through your personal items by any means at all. Yeah, this looks like it's all family type photos. I think it's always good to set up a little bit of greenery on your bookshelf because it adds some color. Now we're going to go back to the hardback books that we pulled out to use. And I'm going to kind of use this kind of like as some artwork too because I think it's really pretty. So also you kind of want to set your books up so they're not all the same direction. So I'm going to grab a few more hardbacks over here. And then we want to put something in the center, kind of that little bit of accent look. And that looks cute. So what I did is I left some of these books because they were the perfect size. But as you can see, I kind of turned them here. And then you know what? Just add another little pop of greenery. Got some more books here. We're going to put right here, kind of angle them. And I think I need another little accessories. How about a clock? There we go. So we still got some big hardbacks, so I think they're going to work best. Just down here, don't worry about the bottom shelf that much. And just let's top it off with a little bit of greenery.
Okay, so Andrea, this looks amazing. You've done a great job as usual, and really, she made it look pretty darn easy, didn't she? Except now we've got to do the hard part because we've got to clean up the mess that we made, but that's okay. We've got that covered. So you all keep coming back. We're gonna just do a little cleanup here, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.